Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about Captain America. And this is the classic version of Captain America. To be clear about exactly what version we're talking about, because there are 3 different versions in the game. This one has been around for the longest period of time, and in my opinion is kind of the lackluster version of this character. He does have a couple of useful traits, but there's a lot left to be desired with this particular iteration. So let's have a look at what he brings to the table and what things I feel or think could be reworked or scaled up to make him a little bit better and more relevant. The first thing we need to notice is that when Captain America is blocking, or when he is holding block, he has a 40% chance for the block to be a perfect block, reducing all incoming damage to 0, which is already kind of nice, especially for early game players, as it allows you to work your way around some of the more difficult opponents that come through with having less of a need to use potions to heal up your characters. Additionally, there is the 90% chance of when a perfect block is triggered for the opponent to have a fatigue debuff that is applied to them. And that fatigue will lower their critical rating by a certain amount for a 12-second span. And that's not all that bad. It does make sure that he is reducing the amount of damage that's coming in, and if your character has a reduced critical rating, and if your opponents have a reduced critical rating, then that's going to shut down a lot of their options. Though it is important to note that this is not a debuff that will stack. If it does trigger multiple times while the fatigue debuff is still active, it will just refresh the duration of the active debuff. In terms of the special in terms of other items that Captain America has that are kind of sort of unique to him, he has a 30% chance to stun all opponents for 3 seconds anytime a special attack has been activated. This chance is increased by 40% to an even 70% if the opponent is suffering from a fatigue debuff, which isn't terrible, but it certainly does have that margin for error, especially if you're unable to reliably get those fatigue debuffs to line up on your opponents. Captain America's signature ability is it has to do with the perfect block chance increasing by a certain amount based off of how low the character's health is. So you will have an easier time surviving when you have taken a couple of hits, or that helps improve his overall longevity. It's never at a point where you have a 100% chance to have a perfect block take place, but it's something left to be considered. So Captain America's special attacks, they, apart from having their 30% chance to trigger a stun with that increased 40% if the character has that fatigue debuff, there's nothing else super special about them. The first special attack, the Shield Bash, involves 2 hits, one with a shield strike and one with a heel kick that he brings down on top of the opponent's head. And then there is the Shield Toss, which is where, again, it begins with a bash type attack and then follows up with that quintessential frisbee type attack. That can be a little bit of a nuisance for newer players to learn how to evade or get away from, but it is certainly doable, so you don't ever want to count yourself out for that per se. And then you also have the Special 3, which is American Justice, which involves a couple of close and personal hits that will layer in some much needed damage to the characters which overall provides some damage, but it doesn't have any real notable buffs or other benefits that it provides to Captain America. So those are the biggest things so that's how Captain America is currently working, but I do feel like there are a couple of things that could really be overhauled entirely to kind of help this character out. He would really benefit from some sort of ability, or whether active or passive, that would allow him to have some additional damage output. That's really the biggest thing that leaves Captain America with something to be desired. I think that overall it would be beneficial if he had some way of building up precision and cruelty buffs, again, whether those are active or passive type buffs. Probably more of along the side of a passive buff, because that will help him retain a little bit of an edge in the Mystic matchups that he has, as Science is supposed to have a benefit against Mystic enemies in the way of helping to allow them to circumnavigate Mystic Dispersion and a couple of other masteries that make Mystic defenders quite annoying. So I think that something that could be kind of interesting is if you were to keep that fatigue option. If you were able to land a heavy attack on your opponents while they have that fatigue active, you can either convert that to more of a passive permanent debuff, or allow that debuff to be removed and apply one of those precision or cruelty buffs to yourself, of course capping that at a certain threshold to assure that you're not becoming too powerful, and maybe having a new synergy, allowing him to expand upon the amount of buffs that he's able to apply upon himself. It would also be sort of nice if there was a method of boosting up Captain America's overall attack, maybe with some sort of a Fury or passive Fury type ability, and that could have a low percent chance to trigger, like a 25 or 30% chance to trigger if you successfully land a special attack on your opponents while they have that fatigue active on them. I think that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, though it wouldn't really break anything if that were to happen. I can see some of the hang-ups on allowing Captain America to have some sort of damage boosting attribute applied to him. Now the sad thing is I don't really see Captain America getting reworked anytime soon, and that mainly comes down to the fact that we have a lot of other characters that play very similar to him. There's the Captain America World War II variant, there's the Infinity War variant, which is infinitely better than both of the other Captain America versions in the game for a lot of different reasons. And then we also have the Guardian, who was added, and the way that he works, or the Red Guardian, I guess I should say, that he really kind of takes away a lot of those mechanics that I would have potentially liked to have seen applied to the way that Captain America works and behaves more particularly. So unfortunately, I don't really see this version of Captain America being added into the meta or really brought back into any sort of relevance, but I would not complain if that ever were to be the case for him, and I remain hopefully optimistic that we will see a return to form from Captain America at some point in the near future. But what are your thoughts? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below what things you think that Captain America could benefit from to bring him back into relevancy and make him a little bit more of a prominent threat to the current in-game meta. Or if you think that he's just doomed to stay right where he's at and suffer in a lower tier silence forever. I'm always open to hear that sort of insight and feedback. But until then, thanks again for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like on it, and we will catch you in the next one. Take care, and have a fantastic rest of your day.